We got the Bellator flyweight champion Ilima-Lei MacFarlane here on the program. She's going to be taking on Veta Arteaga at Bellator 220 on April 27th. Ilima, how are you?
I'm good, James. Thanks for having me back.
Of course, it's good to chat with you again. And of course, this camp is a little bit different, I imagine. Not as much pressure as fighting in your home state of Hawaii. How have things been different this time around just because of not having all that, extra pressure of, fighting close to home?
Well, yeah, in a way, it's been relaxed in that sense, but all of my camps are different. And for this one, actually, I felt really good. Like you said, less pressure mentally. This is like the least crazy I've been. But of course, once fight week comes, I'm probably going to start having my meltdowns. But no meltdowns as of yet.
Okay, so far so good. One of the cool things about being the champ is you get really neat opportunities. And I saw that you met Canelo Alvarez. How was that? What did you guys get to chat about?
Well, not much because, the language barrier there, but I mean, it was cool. It was really cool because the DAZN guys were the ones that actually surprised me with that. And they kept telling me like, okay, we're going to shoot in the morning. Then we have a surprise for you at in the afternoon. And the entire time, because it was my birthday, I totally thought that we were going to go get ice cream or something, or they were going to have cake for me. And then they pull up to this weird unmarked building that doesn't have any signs on it, and it just kind of looks a little sketchy. They're like, go inside. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then I open the door and it's Canelo's gym. So that was really cool. And then they started wrapping me up. His trainer started wrapping my hands, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna train right now. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna spar? And so, but it was fun. We just did a couple of rounds on the mitts, and yeah, me and Canelo, we talked a little bit, how much weight do you have to cut, la 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 la. So that was really cool. But yeah, I got to learn Spanish, man. I'm actually enrolling in Spanish language classes this summer because of that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right. Because you're like, in case this happens again, if I meet an amazing boxing star who also doesn't speak any English, got to come prepared, right? Yeah, that sounds good. Are you actually a boxing fan, or is it just you probably knew of him, of course, because he's fought everyone?
Yeah. So
okay.
To be totally honest, I don't watch boxing at all.
Yeah, I like the honesty though. That's good.
So a part of me felt kind of guilty because I was like, oh, so when are you fighting next? Or I didn't really know what to talk about because I'm like, frick, I don't watch boxing. But yeah, it was definitely, I'm going to tune into his fight now that I met him. And but we talked too about okay, how long are your camps typically? Like, what do you do as far as how long do you train? So that was cool to pick his brain a little bit, just athlete to athlete. But yeah, unfortunately I don't really watch boxing, but I will for sure start watching Canelo's fight.
Well, you could have just blamed it on the language barrier. If you said something, he's like, actually, I have a fight booked, and you're like, oh no, sorry, the translation must have been mixed up. Sorry about that. You could have just used it on that. But anyways, let's talk about this fight. Great matchup. Arteaga, she's got that 5-2 record. How do you feel like your skill set matches up against hers?
To be honest, I think I'm the more technical fighter, but she definitely is way more aggressive than I am. I consider myself a slower starter. And she comes out guns firing. So this should be really interesting. I don't think I've ever faced an opponent with her aggression. But that's not to say she's not technical, especially on the ground. She's actually a brown belt in jiu-jitsu and, really hard to finish. She's so scrambly and really good at defending submission attempts. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little more technical, but she has that killer instinct,
Yeah, it should be a great fight on paper. Now, as far as training camp goes at San Diego Combat Academy, I know Liz Carmouche fought recently, but I know Pearl Gonzalez has actually been in Thailand. How has that impacted camp with her not being in the gym?
It was fine. Actually, Liz and I didn't even get to have a camp together either because I went up to Prague to corner her at her fight, and I had been gone on my, post-fight vacation for her camp. Then we went up to Prague. As soon as we got back, that's when I started camp. So Liz was on her post-fight vacation, same with Pearl. So I didn't have those two at all for my camp, but it was totally fine. I have a plethora of amazing training partners. Even a lot of our amateur girls stepped up, and they were like my punching bags during camp, which is so amazing because some girls who've never even fought before, they're like, oh, you guys need another body? Okay, I'm in. And they would put their mouthpiece in, and I'm just like, I love that I have such supportive teammates who aren't scared, you know. So I didn't feel like I lost any amount of high level training because our amateur team is sick, and we have a lot of other pro girls like Ashley Cummins. She's an Adam.
Oh, I know her, a police officer. Yeah.
For Invicta, she's a little badass. We have Jackie Vandenberg, who actually fought Veta in both of their Bellator debuts, who came out and supported me. Rebecca Levine. So like we have amazing training partners who will show up at a moment's notice.
That's good. So a lot of variety in there for camp, which is always nice for those different situations. Now, I know you've known about this fight for a while, it seems. I remember at least back in January. I believe they announced it on it was the Bellator 214 card, or at least it was around there. So the weight cut, I know how you are. It's like once you know the fight's on, then you get into sort of Rocky mode when it comes to the weight cut. So has that been easier for this camp?
No, actually, this weight cut has been total shit. And I only say that because my last camp, for some reason, I was walking super light, and it was just amazing. It was like my body knew, okay, you have a fight coming up, let's start losing weight. But this time, I was just plateauing. The entire camp, I was staying at 142, when last camp, I was at 136, you know? So I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And so a part of me thinks that maybe I didn't have enough time off for my last fight, because typically I fight every 6 months, and this was a 4-month turnaround time. So I'm like, okay, that could be it. Or I just like ate way too much in Spain and Portugal and all of my vacations. But now it's finally coming down. I think my body knows, okay, it's go time. Like, not messing around anymore. So if anything, that has been the biggest struggle for this camp is just the weight. But I make weight every single time. I'm professional. I've cut from worse before. It's never fun, no matter what.
Well, regardless, I like the honesty here because, you know, sometimes you get fighters and they're like, yeah, the weight cut's fine. And they get to like the actual scale and they're like, oh, you were 10 pounds over. And it's like, oh, yeah, I had an injury. You know, I didn't tell about, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I like the honesty there. How do you see this fight playing out? I mean, you feel like you're going to get the win. Submissions seem to be your thing. Is that what we're going to see here on April 27th?
You know, I think these are my 2 fight predictions. It's either going to go all 5 rounds. It's going to go to the judges' scorecard. Or I'm going to finish her on the ground in the second round. Second or third. That's kind of like the pattern with my fights as of lately.
After this fight, again, not looking past the result or anything by that means, but what is next? I mean, you're sort of running through all the contenders here, and you know, I think Bellator, some of the options are getting pretty slim at this point.
Yeah, so there's actually Juliana Velasquez, who she's undefeated. I think she actually has the same record as I do, and so I think that she's definitely a candidate. But you know, we're signing new people every year. And yeah, I think that Bellator and Scott them do a really good job of building up girls. You know, I was built up from them from the ground up. So I think, any of these girls that they're signing has the potential to, you know, be the next big thing. So, but right now, Juliana Velasquez has been on my radar. It was actually between her and Veta that I thought was going to get the next title shot. So
okay. And last question before I let you go. What is Downtime looking like during camp? I know things are crazy. Doing all the media stuff. You're the champ. You know, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. But are you getting in any TV time, anything like that? What would I find you doing when you're trying to take your mind off this crazy world that is MMA?
So I actually like to listen. For some reason, I've been in this crazy, like, knowledge mode right now, or school studying mode, and I've been listening to History on Fire podcast by Daniele Bolelli, like amazing podcast. I've just been listening to that all day. I've been reading. I told you I'm going back to school this summer to take a Spanish course. So I'm just like, my mind has been very active this camp, which is kind of, it's nice, you know, or I'm playing with my dog.
Excellent. Well, this is going to be an awesome card. It's coming up here April 27th. It is Bellator 220. Ilima-Lei, always appreciate the time. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So you guys can all find me. My Twitter handle, Instagram handle, and Facebook fan page is all at Ilima-Nator, ILIMANATOR. I just want to give a huge shout-out, first and foremost, to my team, 10 Planet Freaks, all my trainers, Bill Crawford, Manolo Hernandez, Richie Boogeyman Martinez, Andy Murad. I just have an incredible team, super supportive of me, and I have so many of them coming up to San Jose for my fight. So that's amazing. I'm looking forward to that. And then next, shout out to my sponsors. My main ones, TC1 Gel, Eco Sciences, AVA, or Ambassadors with Aloha, Aloha and Apoi Company, and Anheuser-Busch. Without our sponsors, you know, people don't understand that, like, without a lot of times our sponsors, we can't even pay our bills or pay our rent, you know. So having sponsors allows us to focus on the task at hand, which is fighting and training full time. So big mahalo to those guys. And last but not least, I'm actually gonna plug in my scholarship that I created. It's a scholarship for young Native girls ages 12 to 18. And I created the scholarship with my win bonus money when I won the title 2 years ago. And basically, we send these young girls through an Indigenous enrichment, Indigenous knowledge program that provides travel opportunities to Panama, Jamaica, San Diego, Hawaii. And I'm actually going to be going on the Jamaica trip after my fight. So, if you guys want to learn more about my scholarship, please visit nativelikewater.org.